The story of Jacob wrestling with an angel is one of the most enigmatic and thought-provoking passages in the Bible. Found in Genesis 32:22-32, this narrative raises several theological and historical questions regarding the identity of the mysterious being that engaged in a physical struggle with Jacob. Scholars and theologians have debated whether this figure was an angel, a manifestation of God, or a pre-incarnate appearance of Christ. This article delves into the biblical text, historical interpretations, and theological significance of this encounter to understand who the angel truly was. The biblical account. In Genesis 32:22-32, we find Jacob preparing to meet his estranged brother Esau. Having deceived Esau years earlier and taken his birthright and blessing, Jacob is filled with fear and anxiety. The night before the anticipated meeting, Jacob sends his family across the Jabbok River while he remains alone. It is in this solitude that he encounters a mysterious figure who wrestles with him until daybreak. The passage states, "So Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him till daybreak. When the man saw that he could not overpower him, he touched the socket of Jacob's hip so that his hip was wrenched as he wrestled with the man. Then the man said, 'Let me go, for it is daybreak.' But Jacob replied, 'I will not let you go unless you bless me.' The man asked him, 'What is your name?' 'Jacob,' he answered. Then the man said, 'Your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel, because you have struggled with God and with humans and have overcome.'" Genesis 32:24-28 NIV. Jacob later names the place Peniel, meaning face of God, stating, "It is because I saw God face to face, and yet my life was spared." Genesis 32:30. This declaration adds to the mystery of the identity of the being Jacob wrestled with. Interpretations of the wrestler's identity. Over the centuries, scholars and theologians have proposed several interpretations regarding the identity of the mysterious wrestler. The main theories include the wrestler as an angel. One of the most traditional interpretations is that the opponent was an angel. This view is supported by Hosea 12:3-4, which references this event. "In the womb he grasped his brother's heel. As a man he struggled with God. He struggled with the angel and overcame him. He wept and begged for his favor." This passage explicitly refers to the being as an angel, reinforcing the idea that Jacob wrestled with a celestial messenger. In biblical tradition, angels often serve as intermediaries between God and humans, and this encounter could be interpreted as such. The wrestler as God. Another compelling interpretation is that Jacob wrestled directly with God in a theophany, a visible manifestation of God in human form. Jacob himself believed this, as evidenced by his naming of the place Peniel. Additionally, the text suggests divine qualities in the wrestler's ability to rename Jacob and bestow a blessing upon him. The idea of God taking human form, albeit temporarily, is not unprecedented in the Bible. For instance, Abraham was visited by 3 men in Genesis 18, one of whom was later identified as the Lord. This strengthens the argument that the mysterious wrestler was indeed God. The wrestler as the pre-incarnate Christ, Christophany. A third interpretation among Christian theologians is that Jacob wrestled with a pre-incarnate appearance of Christ, known as a Christophany. This theory is supported by the fact that Jacob's opponent displayed divine attributes, such as the ability to rename him and grant blessings. In Christian theology, Jesus Christ is understood as the ultimate mediator between God and humanity. Some scholars argue that Jacob's wrestling match foreshadowed Christ's role in salvation history, where humans struggle with sin and divine grace are in constant tension. The significance of the encounter. Regardless of the identity of the wrestler, this encounter holds profound theological significance. Transformation and new identity. Jacob's name was changed to Israel, meaning he struggles with God. This name change signifies Jacob's transformation from a deceitful individual to a man who directly engages with God. It also marks the beginning of Israel's identity as a nation, which would later become God's chosen people. The power of persistence in faith. Jacob's insistence on receiving a blessing before letting go demonstrates persistence in seeking God's favor. This encounter can be seen as a metaphor for the spiritual struggle every believer faces in their journey of faith. Human weakness and divine strength. The fact that the wrestler was able to dislocate Jacob's hip with a mere touch signifies divine power over human strength. Jacob's limp serves as a lifelong reminder of his dependence on God, illustrating that true strength comes from divine grace rather than human effort. Conclusion. The identity of the angel, or divine being, who wrestled with Jacob remains a mystery that continues to captivate theologians and believers. Whether one views the wrestler as an angel, God himself, or a pre-incarnate appearance of Christ, the story's significance remains profound. It highlights themes of transformation, perseverance, and divine human interaction, all of which are crucial to understanding biblical theology. Jacob's wrestling match ultimately symbolizes the struggles of faith, where human determination meets divine intervention. This story reminds believers that encountering God, even in struggle, leads to a transformed identity and a deeper relationship with Him.